Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we are live on a Saturday, ready to do some feedback. This is the episode we talk about the things that y'all have to say. I was looking on my Facebook memories, and it said like 12 years ago today was our first feedback episode.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. So we've been doing this a tradition unlike any other.
Come on. Like the masters.
Don't sue us. The official weapon of the show is
the taser.
And the unofficial sport
Bullet ball.
and bullet ball extreme. And with feedback, we're going to talk about the comments you left on our website, the 5-star reviews that you left on Apple Podcasts.
Woo-hoo!
We're going to talk about the comments you left on Anchor and Spotify. We're going to talk about the voicemails you left. We're going to talk about the emails we got. And we're going to talk about this motherfucking guap that y'all left us, this money. You know we love it. You know we're all about that guap. So let's talk about it. Oh yeah, volume.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's Own, Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tie to the Blackout Tips.
New day, new pay. Let's talk about it. Cedric W, recurring donator. Tracy J, Dostra J, Preston F, Team Dro, or Slang of Ages podcast. That's what he told me to tell him. Celeste VB, Mariano. What's up, player? Calvin N, Monica T, Jason F, Tyrone M, Michael Irvin, the playmaker, Sarah B, Waste Bees Basura, Jasmine A, Jonathan W, Mary H, Deborah O, Allison H, Stefan H. H is just coming through in a nice little run right there. Michael F, and lastly, of course, Jonathan H. The H's, it was their week. Okay,
they was representing.
They came through. They crushed the buildings this week. Thank you everybody that gave us money. We appreciate y'all, and shout out to all of y'all. Thank you so much for the dough. All right, let's get into some other stuff with the show. Okay, let's talk about the people who left us 5-star reviews. You can go to Apple Podcast, leave us a 5-star review. Doesn't matter how long it is. Doesn't matter what you say, as long as it's nice. And we'll read it on the air. You can even refresh your old review. We love that too. Looks like my old review is no longer Mo 5 stars. This is from Mr. B. Mont, who says, Karen and Rod, thanks for always sharing your time and thoughts on the world. I truly look forward to being able to connect with you two. Recently, I had a job interview and was asked, what podcast do I listen to? Wow, in an interview? Mind you, I'm a black man interviewing in very white spaces. I was proud to say I woke up daily to BBC News, Time Magazine, a Black Guy Who Tips. Hopefully, you'll have a new listener from the interviewer. I hope so. I mean, listen, if they cool, they gonna hire you. You know what I'm saying? If they some bullshit, then I guess if they listen to this and be like, we don't want that kind of person working everything. Honestly, it wasn't a good job. The job was trash. Anyway, thanks again. The multi-week streak of no 5-star reviews is over. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
And you weren't alone in ending that. That might be our longest streak of no 5-star reviews since we started.
What was that? 2 weeks?
3, I think.
3 weeks?
Yeah. Because it was 5/10 was the last one, and then we didn't have one until this is June 4th. So about 3 weeks. Yeah. It's a long streak for us.
Yes, it is. This is a lot of y'all out there. Like I said, I was, being nice and stuff, but am I gonna have to turn around and call you out?
Because Rod and Karen are hot. This is from Nina Sim 77, who says, I'm changing my review because I wrote it a while ago and I have new reasons why I love this podcast.
Aww.
I've been listening for years, but since the start of the pandemic, Rod and Karen have been a wonderful refuge from an increasingly crazy world. They have introduced me to so many talented folks who have enjoyed the Blackout Tip bump. Yeah, we've been bumping them still. These hosts have managed to discuss the worst news while giving us so many moments to laugh and take a break from the heaviness. If you are financially able, please consider going premium. There is so much funny, thoughtful content behind the paywall, and you'll be doing yourself a favor. Rod and Karen are simply the best. Yeah, we actually just did an episode of Live Smacking Good last night. That was all about the food that we ate in New York.
That was the whole episode.
Yeah, we didn't do any news and regular segments. It was just all like, we ate here, we ate there. So it might, to some people, it might be boring. Some foodies might love it. I don't know. But hopefully you enjoy it.
It was fine. Yeah,
I thought it was good.
It was fine.
All right, 5 stars. The last one is from Milwaukee, like Milwaukee, Milwaukee, who says, 5 stars, my favorite podcast. I've been listening for years. The show is wildly entertaining and with poignant social commentary on pop culture, politics, and ninja shit. Yeah, we do like to talk about Naruto.
Come on.
I enjoy Rod and Karen sharing their views and analysis on the ways we as a society interact with each other online versus real life. The podcast will introduce you to other talented podcasters, artists, activists, and my favorite comedians. If you're a fan of stand-up comedy, this podcast is a must. The podcast introduced me to so many great comedians. Most importantly, this podcast will challenge you to examine your personal beliefs and the reason behind why you feel / have internalized racism, homophobia, patriarchy, religion, all the isms and other societal norms. If you are Black, you should definitely give this podcast a try. The show has definitely helped me grow and challenge me in ways college philosophy courses haven't. I love that. That is, I love that. Because honestly, I don't think we do the show to quote unquote challenge people, but I love that that's a byproduct, because I feel like part of doing this show is talking about the challenges of life in itself and the ones that we get confronted with and just the way we feel about stuff. And even though that's not what we set out to do when we started the show, you can listen to the first episode. We sounded like
everything we talk about now. We was like, we not talking about politics. We not it's certain shit. No, we ain't talking about none of that.
Right.
And now we like, get y'all asses out there and vote, goddammit. So that shows you, when I tell people you evolve and change, you evolve and change.
Yeah. So like a lot of the challenges have been challenges for ourselves. And it just, if the audience can resonate with where we are, where we've been, and where we're going, then I think maybe it presents that same way to them. And I really do hope it helps. I know it helps people. Too many people have told me that it's helped people, and I'm definitely not planning on stopping, so thank you. Rod and Karen are really out here doing the Lord's work, or the work of absolutely no one, depending on what you believe. Shout out to Karen's husband. They are really the hardest working ninjas in podcasts, and I'm grateful that I found this podcast and can't wait to see how the show grows and evolves. Thank you. Those are some. Not only is it nice to have those 5-star reviews, but they were so thoughtful and nice, and we appreciate y'all.
We do.
And I love me a 5-star refresh. Okay, like get in there and refresh that review.
Go ahead and refresh.
Let us know how you feel now, because I imagine even if you still like the show or whatever, or it says something that you're still listening after all this time. You know how many podcast listeners fall off and don't come back, and how many podcasts they just stop doing it and stuff. So like it means a lot when y'all do that. Thank you.
It does.
Episode 2536 on our website and on Anchor, we got comments and we're gonna talk about them. Episode 2536 is called "Good Actions Are Better Than Good Words," and it was a feedback show. We got 2 comments on our website. Appia says, about pronouns for myself. I'm a cis person. I don't feel comfortable writing my pronouns in some kind of bio, for example. I don't even know why. It feels somewhat like a performance. Also, I don't like labeling myself this way. I'm talking only about my pronouns, not questioning the pronouns of other people or their preference. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I will think differently in a few years. There's also the point that the pronouns in Germany are somewhat different. The courtesy form of talking to someone here it looks like SIE, so I don't know if that's C or Psi. It's strangely already non-binary. It's not a new thing at all. It's your they, them. It means they, but it's used to talk directly to someone, like what is their name, meaning what is your name, sir. Language is interesting. I think the pronoun thing is interesting because it's definitely a great place for overthinkers such as myself to think yourself into a big ass circle. Because I definitely understand the issue of people that said, I don't like when people introduce themselves and bring up their pronouns in real life, because if I'm trans, it feels like you're clocking me. You're trying to like make me say something. Um, some people don't like being asked their pronouns because they feel like that's some like an offense or you're clocking them or something. Then there's a bunch of cis people that have weird fucking hangups that get offended when you bring up pronouns like it's some sort of like it's some sort of slight to be asked your pronouns, or like what you trying to say, I don't identify like I look or something, so you got all that shit. And then you have people that aren't really, they're tangentially looking for fights, and these pronoun things are a good place to have conflict. And so there's some people out there that are like, they're probably straight people, but it's the virtue signaling for them. And it's like, oh, here's a chance for me to come down on another person that might not know. And I think those people do a lot more disservice than help. And I think that is in every, that's not just in the pronoun game, that's in every marginalized discussion, but specifically because of like the internet culture and stuff. There are people who are just looking for conflict, and these are great places to find them.
Right.
And so whether it be like white people who are allies but go super hard on other white people when it's not even a big deal to us as black people, those people are just looking for conflict. And so it's not like we put them up to that. We're like, hey, when a person says this, jump in their shit. Like maybe there are some black people that say that, but most of us don't really give a fuck unless you're saying something racist or doing something racist to us or something.
Correct.
But there's these people that, they want to be good boys, they want to be good girls, they want to pat on the back, they, that kind of shit. And I think they go extra hard. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times those few people going extra hard scares the shit out of people that mean well but don't always know everything.
Correct.
And so then you had this fear, this paralysis of analysis, right? You had this fear of like, I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I'm just not gonna say anything.
Correct.
And I don't want to be around a trans person because what if I fuck up? What if I say the wrong thing? And then they're gonna jump in my shit. Meanwhile, when you look at it, at least from my experience, normally when you see like a trans person going off on somebody for going in, like for fucking up their pronouns, it's because that person is willfully, purposely trying to fuck up their pronouns.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
because intent matters, and they recognize intent.
And I think that's the part that gets lost on the internet, because the internet is very black and white. It's you did a good job or you did a bad job, pass or fail. And so someone fucking up on the internet, especially when someone's in one of these gotcha conversations, or people are trying to score points, or people want people to see them as good boys and good girls or whatever the fuck, that's when they go hard on people like, oh, you didn't see? Their bio said she, her, and you're like, I didn't even see their bio. I wasn't trying to misgender them. Oh, well, of course you was, and that's what people that also have that good boy, good girl complex, want to be patted on the back. You get scared. Like you're like, oh shit, people gonna think I hate trans people. And I think that is does everything a disservice, because my guess is there's no way you thought about pronouns, gender in any way that trans people haven't thought of themselves.
Of course, because they have to live this life every day.
Right.
And it's also one of those things where the real life and internet aren't the same, because most people, if you meet them in real life, now you do have people who purposely look for conflict, don't get me wrong, but most people do not purposely go out and look for conflict, and most people understand intent. Most people do. And most people will be very understanding and very compassionate to it. A lot of times the people that you see go off, like you say, these are people who they feel like you're willfully doing it, which means a lot of times you have some form of a relationship with them, and you purposefully do that, where they like, okay, now you know better, you're just being an ass. That's completely different than somebody just trying to maneuver through it the best they can, because at the end of the day, it's messy, and nobody wants to admit that it is messy for a lot of people. You have a lot of insecurities all over the place. You got people that don't want to fuck up. You got people that do want to fuck up. You got people feeling like scared, because there's a lot that goes to this thing that they're trying to navigate their everyday life through. And so it is just a mishmash of things going on, and the average person is just trying to swim and navigate it the best they can.
Yeah, it's like one of my best examples we have right now is the term Latinx. Like at this point, Latinx has mostly become a signifier and a qualifier of like, yo, I'm a good person. I'm saying this because I don't like, I'm not saying it because I necessarily understand it. I'm not saying it because people are using it, because in a lot of cases people aren't using it. A lot of people within the community of Latino, Latina, Latinx, however you want to call it, a lot of those people not using it. Like it's like, and it's something that like we didn't ask for this like American version or this woke version of our language. Our language is our language. We're proud of it. It's our heritage. And there's going to be some people that are going to say this thing isn't good, but this is how we talk. And if you come down here talking like this, we're going to be like, who the fuck is this stranger? You know? And so, but online is a big deal because like you need to say that for people to know you a good person. And so once things become that way, it's going to be messy because there's going to be a time period where it's like, you're almost like you're trying something on, like you're trying on clothes. Will it fit? Will society eventually, most of us be saying Latinx and taking all the gendered language out of Spanish language that people speak, like taking it out of their language so that we can feel better.
Even as objects have male and female pronouns.
Yeah, so we can feel better almost as non-Latinx people coming in, gentrifying their language and saying this is how you should speak. I don't know. It may I don't know which of those battles is gonna win, or if it's just gonna always be like this messy kind of thing. But it's a very academic discussion because if I go to the motherfucking taco era place or whatever, the taco place, they don't care. They just like, it's $5 for 2 tacos, my man. That's it.
Right.
And they're not talking that academic Twitter shit. They're not talking the academia professorial shit. They're just talking like, and so a lot of this stuff is more about, you know, us virtue signaling and stuff. And it's, you know, and so I think sometimes we get in our heads because ultimately what you want people to know is, yo, I'm on your side. I'm not in your way and I respect you. And my personal belief is that will come across. And if you truly care enough, it'll come across. And I think we do people a disservice by assuming they don't understand. The same way that, you know, sometimes white people stand up for black people in this, like, I appreciate that, but it's like, I understand the difference between like a guy with a country accent and a guy with a MAGA flag on his truck. Like, I'm good. I've lived my black life long enough to have deciphered for myself, and most groups are like that.
Yeah, and also the reality of it is that everything evolves and language change, and at the end of the day, a lot of people are afraid or frightened to be like, I just don't know. Even people within the group itself, I just don't know.
Well, the truth is further than don't know. That's not the truth. The truth.
I mean, when I don't,
I know. The truth is we scared.
Correct.
It's not about not knowing.
I mean, when I say not knowing how to say the right thing at the right time.
I'm just taking it a step further than you and going, it's beyond just not knowing, because not knowing is, I didn't know this was considered a dead name, or I didn't know this was considered offensive. It's like almost I know too much.
Correct.
Like I don't. It's like I'm scared because
overload.
In some situations people come down on people, in some situations people don't. I don't know.
Right.
And I'm scared, and I don't want to get in trouble, and I don't want, it's that feeling. And I think true equality and true respect is not one of fear.
Correct.
Because what happens in that case, I think, is a lot of times you don't want to be around those people. And that's what happens. You see it with liberal white people all the time, where it's like academically they can make every argument for, racial stuff and equality. But then you look in their circles and they don't hang out with none of them people. And it's like, why don't they hang out? Because they scared. They scared they're gonna fuck up. They're scared they're not gonna be perfect. They're scared something's gonna be taken the wrong way. They're scared that they're gonna make a human mistake, and that shit's gonna be considered World War III, and they're gonna get put on blast. And they put so much of their personality around being good and being woke and being one. And so you look at a lot of these circles and you go, man, all these woke white people in this writer's room is all white. and shit. It's like, because we not worried about fucking up amongst us, but as soon as we bring somebody else in, everything we painted our perfect pictures to be is gonna be could be seen as just ordinary, human, as flawed, like everyone else, and
that's okay. And the thing about it is that, and I do really think that the behavior online flows in real life, and for a lot of people, a lot of the gotcha, a lot of the mean spirited, a lot of don't you fuck up around me. For some people, they have brought that into real life, and that's not realistic. Because people do fuck up, people do make errors. Even you make errors and mistakes.
Also, like, we're seeing people's inner monologues more with social media. So now you know how that thoughtless or careless or just human error affects somebody else, and so you don't want to be a part of their pain. So it's like someone could be like, and it's like, hey, I'm trans, I use they them, I'm non-binary, I use they them pronouns, and I was talking to someone the other day and they kept calling me she, and it, blah blah blah, and you go, oh God, have I made someone feel that way? Because you're internalizing it to yourself immediately, because you want to be responsible for your actions. Correct. You can't control other people's actions, you can't control how other people feel, but you're like, I hope I have never made them feel that way. Did I fuck up? And the truth is, like, yes, probably at some point, because you're not perfect, and because you don't know everything, and because they don't know everything, right? And people have their own issues to work on and all this stuff. So it's a big messy thing, but it's as you can evidence from this discussion, it lends itself to people that overthink, and I overthink a lot. So I think about that kind of shit a lot. But it's, to me, I feel like ultimately you just have to let go of trying to control it and just be like, yo, it's not the same for everybody. Appia pointed out, not even the same in different countries, different cultures. It's not the same. You do the best you can. Vast majority of people will be understanding. Those who don't, if it's hysterical, it's historical. So it's probably some internalized shit. If they truly just go off on somebody who made a mistake and didn't mean to
do with you,
it's probably some internal shit where they got to work on, because that's gonna happen every day of your life, that somebody's gonna not be perfect. Sofa King says, I had a minor technical question. While catching up on episode 2533, The War Report, I heard you ask Gastor a question and was caught off guard by the podcast cutting to an anchor ad before I played his answer, which led me to wonder if you and Karen have any input on where the ads get inserted, or is that up to the host? Oh no, I did that on purpose. I cut the show up and tell it where to put the ads. The only thing I don't know is which ad is gonna play.
Right.
And that is apparently based on y'all's algorithm. So
your
whatever
algorithm,
whatever your phone and your other listening choices and stuff are, it determines what kind of ads you get. That being said, like, when we do longer style podcasts, especially that are more interview and not segment based, I will put the ad sometimes in like the pregnant pauses of a question, the cliffhanger type of deal, because I want people to to keep listening, obviously. And it may disrupt the flow, but that's what ads do, they disrupt the flow. There's no ad that, like, if an ad is just completely the only thing I've thought about maybe doing is like put all the ads in one section, but then at that point I'm just doing myself a disservice, because we do get paid for these ads and we do want people to listen to them. And I know people skip forward all the time. I'm not offended by it, but it's like, we put it in there because that was just to me, it was a good spot, and I experiment based on the shows and where it flows and stuff. But I normally try to put them around segment breaks, but as y'all can tell, we have people on, we don't always get to do a lot of segments, or the segments are all backloaded at the end, and it's like, I don't want to put 3 ads in the last 20 minutes of the podcast, so I got to figure out, like, so you from Brooklyn, son, what's going on? And it's like, what's going on? And a new ad will pop up. So all right, the poll was, do you have long COVID? Yes or no? 0 people have long COVID on our website poll.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, 100% say no. That's good. But you gotta remember, on Spotify, them people got money.
They can travel, they can do some things.
They've been going to parties, they've been vacation, they've been living like the 1%.
They've been going to the orgies.
8% of them have long COVID. and 92% do not. So the people with the money been out here, doing what people with money do.
All right.
The comments was Q&A was legs, hips, and body. A true BC anthem, says Kyla. David says, got them from those Korean hot dogs. Chris says, cutie with a booty. Oh heavens, Kevin says, to weigh in on the Spotify thing. I know sometimes after the algorithm ads play, Spotify skips to the next episode. It still marks it as played. Not sure if I'm the only one this happens to. No, a couple people hit me up about that. And I sent Anchor a notification, help desk thing about it this week.
Okay.
And
to see
described that. I described the incident. I still don't know that they fixed it though. I don't even know if they can duplicate it on their thing. I know they were saying it happens to a lot of people with the free Spotify, not the premium. They were saying it could be based on which ad it is that does it, because someone that wrote in said there was a specific ad. If you have more information about this and it's still happening to you, email us to blackouttest@gmail.com.
Yes, so
I will forward it on to the Anchor help desk so that they can get to the bottom of this problem, because obviously we don't want this. And I could tell from our stats something was happening, because with our stats it shows us like the listener drop off per episode. And a lot of times it would get to the third ad and then this big drop off, this precipitous drop off would happen. And I was like, no, why the fuck? Like, are people just turning off? Are they listening for the ads? There's plenty of show after the ads, and they used to listen all the way to the end, and we would retain a high percentage. But and what it must have been is that third ad skips to the end or something.
For a lot of people,
or after not even the third ad, some ads it skips to the end, and there was big drop offs, and then they go back and listen, but it makes it look like our show dropped all the way off. Nick Ju says body. Aaron says, I don't know who told her that was a good song. Yeah, they all saw, says introvert M. Legs, hip, and body all saw. Yeah, we old. Good point. Episode 2537, full circle moment, where we had Jordan Temple on, a writer, producer, playwright, all this stuff,
everything.
And it was a fun episode. A lot of people enjoyed him. We got one comment. Blue Cat says, Jordan Temple is so cute and talented. I love it when you interview creatives. I hope you are able to talk to more writers. Thank you for this interview. Well, we got a lot of guests coming up. If everything works out. So we got a lot of, I've been booking,
and
y'all.
I'm so excited about the guests.
And Karen is so excited about that guest, y'all. Okay. Guess y'all. You don't stop. That's what I like to say. A little joke there, guys. Do you have imposter syndrome? Yes, currently. I used to, but not anymore, or never.
I do. And I don't know if that's something I will ever get rid of. I'm not even gonna lie.
My Jesus.
I try my best, but that right there is an ongoing battle within myself. And it's one of those things where you can overcome it in some situations, and then something new presents itself, and it's almost like a reset every time. Almost, I can't speak for nobody else, but for me, in certain situations, it's almost like a reset, and I almost have to work my way through that whole process again. But it's one of those things where I'm trying my best to purge that out of myself, because it's not healthy. And what's so funny is that, like I was in particular in this even episode where we had somebody else on, the dude with we talked about the food podcast. And we was talking about how you could be the most educated in the room, but have all these insecurities hanging over yourself, and somebody that don't know shit coming in with the most fucking confidence. And so it's one of those things that it's one of those things where even as adults, you still have to build confidence within yourself sometimes. We build it in children, and we tell children to do these great and wonderful and marvelous things. But when it comes to executing that shit yourself, it's a whole nother story.
And I believe you're talking about Jesse Sparks. Yeah, well, you're not alone. 56% of the people on our website in the poll said they currently have imposter syndrome. 30% say they used to, but not anymore, and 15% say never. And similar on our Anchor poll, yes, currently 50%, because these people get money, so it wasn't as high as the 56%. 34% say they used to, but not anymore, probably when they started getting that money.
Mhm.
And 16% say never because they was born rich. So I definitely understand that. The degree is in you, not on you. Jordan Temple was a quote for the show. Kyla says it's true. Some people have a natural niche. I wish we could all figure it out faster. Nicole says bars. C. Finklia says, ain't that the truth? Raphael says, I wrote that down, that line from Jordan. Thank you, sir. Kadian says, yes, I just made a TikTok about this last week. I was telling people I didn't get a PhD to earn anybody's respect. I had a PhD in me to produce. That's what drove me, not ivory tower promises. James says, that sounds like an old Kanye West line from his graduation album. I emphasize the word old on that one. Yeah, although I think it does have limits though, because like I still remember the day I was re-listening to Dead Prez. Like, this is when we first started the podcast, so this had to be over 10 years ago. And it's funny because it's one of Mike Felder's like favorite things, like segments or jokes I made. But I was listening to Dead Presidents, and they had this song called They Schools, and it was like, they schools can't teach us shit. My people need freedom. I'm trying to get all I could get. So like it was like a deep, dope song, and it's, you know, Dead Prayers got that, you know, that they go hard. So it's like, you know, I used to listen to this album. I didn't give a fuck. I just thought everything they said was just amazing, right? And now I look back, I'm like, these hotep ass weirdos. But at the time, I was like, Black Power, nigga. But they had this line where he said something like, I don't have to go to school to be a doctor. I was like, you should probably go to school to be a doctor.
There are some things that a PhD is required, and doctorates, lawyers.
Well, doctorate. I'm not talking about doctorate, because you can get a doctorate in a bunch of shit. Philosophy. I'm talking about medical doctor.
Oh, medical doctor. Okay.
I'm gonna need you to go ahead and go to school, my man. I hear what you're saying.
Get a degree.
I hear what you're saying.
I don't want you operating on me, and you don't know no parts of the human body. Get out of here.
This is like he said.
You can't even tell me how many bones in the human body. No, thank you.
You said your peoples understand it, but to them you're a failure. Observation and participation, my favorite teachers. When they beat us in the head with them books, it don't reach us. Whether you break dance or rock sway Adidas, to be in the bathroom with your click smoking reefer, then you know they math class ain't important unless you adding up cash. That's not smart. In multiples, unemployment ain't rewarding. They might as well teach us extortion. You ain't getting paid or locked up. The principal is like you either getting paid or locked up. The principal is like a warden in a 4-year sentence. Mad niggas never finish, but that doesn't mean I couldn't be a doctor or a dentist. Go to quote the
doctor and the dentist. Them are two that yes is a requirement. Now some of these other fields, you ain't got to have your doctorate, but you need a degree.
To quote another fake doctor, Dr. Cliff Hustable, that is the dumbest thing I've heard in my life. No wonder you get D's and everything. Are you serious? Nigga, go to school.
Go to school.
I wish I would go up in a doctor's office. This nigga ain't got no motherfucking certificate.
A degree hanging up on the wall.
Listen, I dropped out of school, but that don't mean I can't still fix your teeth. Actually, it does, sir.
No.
That's what it means today.
No. Eye doctor, you will not be fucking up my eye.
I'm gonna need you to get some imposter syndrome about yourself. Episode 2538, Monique versus DL Hewley. We got a couple comments on this one. Appia, and of course there's been a lot of updates since this happened. Woo. Appia says
it's updating like fucking firmware.
Appia says, when I started having periods, it was bad. It got way easier over time. Now after having 2 kids, it's not bothering me at all anymore. This isn't a pro-life ad, just my experience. Maybe some of the pain receptors down there just gave up. Oh, being a woman is fun.
That thing was like, you know what? Fuck it. 2 babies. All right, I guess I calm down.
Evie says, DL and Monique are both super problematic people, but I'm beginning to feel like Mo is her own worst enemy. There's nothing anyone can do or say to harm her career that she isn't doing to herself. Yep. Yeah, between her and Sydney, I mean, it's bad. I don't know if I should wait till tomorrow to do it.
Yeah, we can.
or talk about it now, but like the latest thing she did, and maybe we'll talk about it again tomorrow. I don't know. But the latest thing she did was the daughter. So DL Hewley's daughter was sexually assaulted, and at the time DL Hewley did not believe her because he thought she was accusing his friend, and he said this on Sway in the Morning. And honestly, and we might have to talk about it tomorrow, but honestly, even the way that clip is circulating as a knock against DL
is out of context.
It's not just that it's out of context. It's people are so vindictive and so petty. They did not take a second to stop and think and realize how wrong they are. And I feel like I'm one of those people. Because I remember when that clip was first circulating, and I can't be sure because I haven't gone back and listened to the episode, but I feel like I was one of the people that probably came down on him. And I mean, he don't know me from a can of paint. He probably never heard the show in his life, but I apologize. I was wrong. That was entirely fucked up. If I was out there like, yeah, nigga, you did this, that's so wrong. That is the opposite lesson of what should have been learned in that moment. That was a person coming out and saying, I fucked up. I was wrong for that. And he even, I regret it, he says, and I can never get that moment back with my daughter. Like, I hurt my daughter forever with that shit. And he said, because the only thing she ended up learning was that her dad couldn't be bothered because it was inconvenient. And he was saying this in the context of telling Sway and these other black men on these radio shows, who at the time were being very defensive of Bill Cosby. He was saying it in the wake of these Cosby allegations to say, this is why we need to believe these women accusing Cosby, because we're never going to get these moments back of hurting them with our disbelief. I'm sorry, but that's the opposite of what the fuck people have been circulating that clip saying. And that is very, very disingenuous, very fucked up. And it's been years, so we've had chances to correct that, and we still haven't. So the fact that people shared that and went, aha, and that's why Monique is right, then I don't need no facts. That says a lot about just the gender wars, the toxicness of the internet.
Gender wars run deep. I don't think people realize how much they're affected online by gender wars, subconsciously and consciously. When people hear shit, they just automatically just divide, the waters divide, and then they work backwards from there.
Yeah, so I like honestly rewatching that clip, because what happened is Monique shared that clip, and this is the second time it's come up. The first time that it really came up against him, I understood. It was when he was picking on Terry Crews for not doing anything, according to DL Hewley, when the man groped him at that party, even though we found out that he like grabbed the dude and all that and pushed him away and all this stuff. But DL thought it was more funny to be like, look at this big muscle bound man, and he didn't do shit, he froze, ha 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 ha. And then people shared that clip to be like, you froze when it was your own daughter. And I said, you know what, that is relevant, because he should know. He should know that someone's reaction in that moment isn't necessarily a value judgment of them as a person. And when that stuff is actually happening, you have all these theories, but when it's happening to you, you don't know what you would do. So we all need to chill out. Okay. That was a great point. When it was Monique bringing it up this week to say, he doesn't protect black women. I'm a black woman. I love us for real. And almost every person in her Instagram comments was like, this isn't it, sis. Why are you if you protecting black women, why are you bringing up another black woman's trauma? Trauma that they've dealt with, trauma that's in their family. She's a real person. You just want to score points. It has nothing to do with your contract. It's nothing to do with DL protecting or not protecting you. As far like I look at Monique now, because to me, I was a holdout. I was definitely a fan of hers and trying to be like, she's so talented. But some of the shit she's done in the wake of this week, I'm like, I'm good. I don't need it. It's such a fucking headache. you're always gonna like you and Sydney gonna always be a problem. This nigga's in the video where she's trying to explain why it's okay for her to be this way. Sydney is right behind her doing most of the fucking talking, which I'm sorry, but all that boss woman shit, and then you turn around letting daddy talk over you, it just don't feel right. It like it doesn't feel like this pro black woman power shit that she's pitching either, because it's this nigga saying all the black power words. He's like, yeah, baby, because tell him, like, because see, Monique is a black woman, and see, these brothers, if another black man had did this to DL, I'm like, if another black man had did this to DL would probably be in his ass way harder. Because DL's been low-key been kind of light about this shit.
He
like,
has.
I heard Corey Holcomb talking about this shit, and I was like, no, that's
another story.
That's what the fuck. If DL was really problematic and fucked up as people think he is, that's what the fuck he would have been talking like.
Yes.
So like, you definitely don't want that problem. But yeah, so I watched some of that live and had to turn it off about halfway through. And like within the first 10 minutes, she's defending Kanye West stalking Kim Kardashian. Like the way that I say, feminism is to Megyn Kelly as pro-black is to Kanye, as being a black woman is to Monique. It's all the same shit. It's whatever is convenient for me is what the fuck black people should be on, and whatever the fuck is not convenient for me, then that means you a coon. That means you sold me out. So yeah, man, I listen, and like a lot of people aren't listening to these lives. They're not doing they're not checking anything out because they already don't like or do like one of them.
Correct.
And then they just go off of vibes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm watching this shit because I don't want to go on the show and talk about shit that I didn't see. And I don't want to just be like everybody else and be like, oh, I mean, I just don't like that nigga. Like, I'm gonna look it up. And I'm like, yeah, that I can't think of anything more opposite of protecting black women than bringing up somebody's rape to score points about a quote unquote contract dispute. We are so far from where this started. Even the stuff with the radio show where she's like, I was disrespected on the radio show. DL Hughley wasn't there that day, and the show never aired. Wow. So what was the problem again? Like there was also a way to interpret that as, hey, this woman asked a question on his show. He didn't like it. He didn't put the show out because he didn't like that they disrespect. Instead, she took it as, I was asked this question and fuck DL Hughley. Like, that's crazy to me. So yeah, I just feel like Monique is just out way out there. And all I saw in that video was Sydney pumping her head up, making shit, instigating shit. And I can't imagine any manager or business person that would operate that way that wasn't like family or something, because I feel like an actual professional would come in there and be like, hey,
you fucking up money. No,
we gotta calm this the fuck
down. We don't
down.
Turn this shit off and have a conversation.
Yeah. Lakita says, who is Sydney? Sydney is her husband, the man that she called daddy. That is also her manager and all this other shit, and writes her contracts. And it always be the contracts and the money that's fucked up. It's always the money and the contracts that's fucked up, but it's never his fault. So it's got to be somebody's fault. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. I felt, and I still mostly feel sad. Like, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at Monique, but it's just like, you got to make a boundary sometimes and be like, well, that person just don't want the best for themselves, and good luck to them. Because and honestly, good luck to the people that keep falling for that shit, because I've seen people try to defend her off of GP, and it's always boils down to the same two things. Either A, I'm just team black women, it don't matter how fucked up it is, even if they're out here using someone else's sexual assault to score points, that apparently that counts as team black women somehow now.
Right.
But then the other part is I just hate DL Hughley. To which I'm like, okay, you can hate somebody and then somebody can do something that's wrong. Like, because let's be honest, if the whole point is you don't like somebody, there's a ton of people that just don't like Monique. And even when she's had situations where she's been the one that seemed to be wrong, they're like, fuck that bitch, she ain't funny, ha ha ha. So to me, if you're saying, well, those people were wrong for that, why are you now joining in on the being wrong for that? You know what I mean? Like, we've talked about stuff on the show before where DL Hughley said or done something where it's like, yeah, that was fucked up. And even with that, I'm not gonna be like, and that's why it's okay to bring up his daughter's rape.
That's not okay.
To score a point on him. And man, that is so fucked up. That's all. I just can't imagine. There are still people, I'm sure, that are gonna find a way to make excuses, but I honestly think this is that kind of thing where the internet is not your friend. Where
no, it is not.
They're really just egging on a show and trying to keep you going because you're getting them content and entertainment. But a real friend will call you and be like, "Hey, man, what you're doing is not okay, and are you okay? Because this doesn't seem like constructive behavior, and you're burning down all this shit for what?" All right. Who all gonna be there? Sweden. That was a comment. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I skipped past this. I didn't mean to do that. The poll. Period. Crunch cereal. Good idea. Bad idea. 12% say good idea. 88% say bad.
I'm at 88%.
23% of the people that can afford it say good idea, but 77% say bad. So it's mostly a bad idea. Who all gonna be there? Sweden was the comment. We had people leave answer that. Eat a Snickers. You're not yourself when you're unannounced. Yeah, you gotta eat before you get to Sweden house. Chrissy says facts because I do Blue Apron and those servants ain't big enough to share. Oh, so that felt a little Swedish.
Ain't they over there with the money? Blue Apron.
Is Blue Apron the Swedish meatballs? You order that every time? Ms. Barnes says, now I sort of feel a way about IKEA. J. Adamo says, my sis and I had such bad periods with vomiting, and we had to miss school until we got a prescription for pain relief. Yes, surviving, Karen.
Right. Yeah. A lot of, when people say things, they do not realize that for a lot of people that have uteruses, they can be bedridden where they can't move for days on end. You can't do anything because, it's a process. You're literally bleeding straight nonstop for days and you can't turn that shit off. That's not fun. And it's draining and it's exhausting.
Bula says midsummer. Raphael says now we all know we can't be having anti-racist babies on our TV. That's the fastest way to encourage the legalization of abortion. Deny that man a show just like the Swedes deny their kids dinner. We had episode 2539, Obi-Wan coming to the cookout. That was the last episode of the week. And we had 4 comments. Appia says, when the COVID numbers go up in the US, they go down here and vice versa. They're on the way down here. Like now they're falling here. COVID seems to concentrate on one continent, I guess. Now I'm glad we already had it, but only because I know it was mild. After 3 COVID vaccines, you can't know it beforehand. We are planning a European vacation this year. Sounds impressive. We already live here. Ramsey D. Jenkins says 5 stars for each episode this week. Saw the guest lineup for the entire month. I want you all to have all the stars, glitter, and rainbows the whole month of June. Much love to you both. Stay safe out in these COVID streets.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got some big guests coming up soon, and returning friends and all that stuff. We got Zach Sherwin, comedian. He'll be the first time on the show this week. Tuesday, we got Nick Jew coming up on the 8th. My man Zach Rice, who wrote on Game Theory with me, is going to be the Sunday after next. Then Roy Wood Jr., Brandon Collins, Kev on stage, and I'm still out contacting and booking more people behind the scenes. So we got a lot of good people coming up this month. So let's see. EVE says, I voted no in the poll because the poll was, did you pay attention to the Depp Heard trial? I voted no in the poll regarding Amber Heard and Johnny Depp because I didn't actively seek out any articles about them, but they were nearly impossible to avoid on any social media platform.
Wouldn't they though? It didn't matter. They was like, you gonna get this shit. You're like, I don't care. They was like, nope, you gonna get it anyway.
I've never seen anything like it. I saw stories on my Twitter timeline, on my Instagram Explorer page. I suggested videos on YouTube. I didn't ask for any of this shit. Yeah, man, let me tell y'all. Podcast to listen to this week is On the Media. on the media had a great episode on how the media failed Amber Heard. And for people like me that really didn't pay attention to this, and I'm not gonna even try to pretend to be a good person about it, I was like, that is white people shit, and I don't care. That was literally what I thought. It was actually kind of fucked up to think about now in hindsight. But I knew I wasn't gonna stay up all day watching the trial. I knew I wasn't gonna. I knew that there were allegations going back and forth. Johnny Depp had already lost his trial in Europe, which to me was like, yeah, because I think he did it. When I remember the evidence that did come out, the recordings, the friends, and the bruises and the pictures and the police and all that shit. And I remember people trying to basically be like criminal, like when you watch true crime, like trying to solve the crime,
right?
And turn her into this conniving, evil woman that married this man, framed him for abuse for years. To what exactly? Oh, it's gonna help her career in Hollywood. How? When? Being a victim of abuse has never helped somebody in Hollywood. Like, there's nobody with, like, she wouldn't have been a star until she got sexually assaulted or beaten or whatever.
Right.
But they really broke down how, because how one, a lot of left-wing media spaces ignored this trial because they were like, oh, it's messy, oh, it's just pop culture stuff, and missed the significance of it, which is essentially a woman speaking on her abuse, not even naming her abuser, but speaking on her abuse, in a way that, you know, most of us knew, like, she's probably talking about Johnny Depp. She wrote an op-ed about her abuse. A woman doing that can now be considered defaming the person who potentially abused her. Now, as a precedent, that should be a bit, that's kind of big news. As a precedent, you know what I mean? Not saying that we want to like hold up people that are like falsely accusing people, blah blah blah, but like, if the precedent is someone can abuse me and I can't talk about it without me getting sued, it's kind of scary. But once again, it was enough evidence for her to win in the UK, and people were trying to act like that case was rigged or something. But the UK has a higher standard of a lower standard of defamation than the US. The US has like it's almost impossible. And he won, quote unquote, and then she won, quote, as well. But he won all these damages and stuff. And yeah, if this is a precedent, this is something where rich, powerful men can start being like, because how many women have done this in Hollywood and stuff, where it's like, this man busted my eardrum, and we can figure out through the timeline which ex of Halle Berry's busted her eardrum and permanently made her lose hearing in one ear because he was abusive. And we figure that out, and then that person goes, I'm suing that bitch. She can't prove it was me. And I want to clear my good name, even though she never said my name. But y'all figured out it was me. So I'm suing. I mean, it could be a slippery slope. So I definitely get it. But it was a great listen because there's a lot of details. I just only heard the most salacious details on social media. And because the quote unquote good journalists and all this stuff, and let's be honest, a lot of this has to do with people just liking Johnny Depp.
Right.
Because of that, the other side of the argument kind of never really happened online. It was only trolls. It was only stuff out of context. Were the loudest. It was stuff like, and I saw some of these memes where like her defense lawyer held up a makeup case because for dramatic effect, someone asked like, well, if she was getting abused, how come people didn't see all these bruises on her face? And the attorney for Amber Heard held up a makeup case and was like, because of this makeup concealer, you can put it on your face. People don't know you got hit. And then the people online from TikTok and stuff took that screenshot and sent it to this company. And the people on TikTok and stuff, it is very like a culture of, We are talking shit about Amber Heard. She's a lying bitch. She's a cunt. She's this, that, and the other.
Wow.
And they make jokes about it and everything. It was like all the content
I
that
got
was
a huge disconnect from that.
all the content that was blowing up in regards to this case was content that was Amber Heard is a bitch that is framing Johnny Depp.
This PR team did a rampage too. They just went out and just pumped shit into the system.
Well, there's also just like the Daily Wire got caught paying to put propaganda up there that was anti-Amber Heard. The right-wing people see this as a big statement against the Me Too movement and the end of women basically having any say. And what happened with the Amber Heard timeline is that Amber Heard basically says he abused me for a couple years. He blacked out. And then he hits me and stuff. And then he says he doesn't remember it. And he sends me these like kind of like there's a bunch of texts from him that are kind of like ambiguous, whereas like he's apologizing for something but never saying I was hitting you, right? And so at some point she says I started fighting back, and so people go, fighting back, y'all both abusive. Y'all, it's like watching the end of What's Love Got to Do with it and being like, Ike and Tina Turner are just an abusive toxic couple. It's like, well, she took it and then she said not again and fought that nigga back in that limo. But in real life, in her book, she was like, I fought this nigga for years. Like it wasn't no one time. But in the movie, it's just one time, and then we're all like, and then she won. At any rate, so they take this picture of the attorney holding up the makeup case. They tag the makeup maker.
Okay. What do they got to
and say, because this is how toxic they want her to be. They're tagging them like, look at this. This bitch is saying she using your makeup to cover up her bruises, and you know she's a liar and da da da. And so it was such a negative connotation to it. The makeup people come out and say, well, we didn't make this particular case of makeup until X, like last year or something, which is after this lawyer is saying it was used to conceal her bruises. The lawyer wasn't holding it up to say it was literally this fucking case of makeup.
Right. He was just saying makeup in general.
But that meme went around, and that like it went around enough
so much
where people were like, this is more proof that she's a liar. It's that kind of stuff
and
that
the
goes.
makeup people was like, we don't want to be associated with this foolishness. No.
So it's that kind of thing going unchallenged.
Right.
That basically gave the whole discourse to Johnny Depp and to the trolls and then all that stuff. So that's why it looks the way it looks, where it's like if you go online, the only commentary you're really gonna see is it was her, it's all her fault, she's a liar, because a lot of good people checked out because they just were like, it's pop culture, it has nothing to do with me, it's just their business. Well, she seems kind of messy too. And like I said, listening on the media is like, whether you agree or disagree, it's just a good case study in like, oh, so that's why the only things I've been seeing about her are negative, and I've been seeing people taken in by that, you know. So yeah, it sounded real fucked up. Anyway, 8% of the audience did not pay attention. 92% did not pay attention. And yeah, I like I said, I feel bad saying it now because after listening to the episode, I was like, fuck, that may have been a big deal. Because I honestly didn't think she would lose, because I was like, I remember all the shit that Johnny Depp did, and it's not just her. Like, this nigga was a blackout drunk. He
was coming on set fucked up. Like,
right,
yes,
his people, his financial people were like, we're done with you. You spending all your money on fucking wine. Like, it just seemed like, yeah, he seems like a mess. Probably some alcohol abuse situation there, and you know, I guess I just underestimated the charisma of a man that people just really like. In 2022, I thought we were past the point of like, well, when people really like you, it doesn't matter. But I guess Johnny Depp, no matter how much shit he's been through, people are like, I just really like him, and so I'm gonna just look the other way on this shit. And the similar result, 6%. Yes, on our Spotify. But yeah, like I said, I feel bad now because I really did just be like, oh, them white people, and just moved on. But it sounded like she might have got a raw deal. Aaron says How did y'all come up with the taser and bullet ball being an unofficial weapon or sporting weapon? Taser was because we were like a long time ago, just every time cops pull up, they shoot niggas, and it just, if they gonna pull out a weapon, why can't it just be the taser?
Yes.
Like,
and trust, the taser will still take your ass down.
Right. But like, why not? Why it got to be the bullet for us?
Right.
And
why can't we just get the electrical volts and just stop moving?
And bullet ball became the unofficial sport because we just liked that video and thought it was funny. That was it. And it's not the official sport because we ain't want to get sued. That brother seemed like he needed some money at the time, and I didn't want my podcast to be part of that.
Nope.
Miss Barnes says done. I said like and subscribe to our YouTube page. Miss Barnes says done. C. Finklia says, you already know. Raphael says immediately you announced that you had a YouTube page and I subscribed. I may not watch it, but you will always get a like from me anytime I'm in that galaxy. Aaron says done. She was the person that asked me why didn't I put the videos up, and I was like, oh yeah, I should look into that. M. Nicole says sure did. Jane says yes and yes. 2 black thumbs up. Thank you, everybody who took time out to do that, because I have been posting our videos there.
Yes, you have.
And I've been having to learn to edit, very simple edits to edit out the music, so that it won't get copyright claims and flagged, because that's a big thing with YouTube, and it's one of the reasons I never really wanted to put the stuff over there. Right. I'm like, sometimes we play a song, but apparently they're not muting or deleting the videos. They just basically flag it and say, like, in certain countries it might not play, but anyway, yeah, so those videos are out there, and some of our like recent interviews are on there. I'm going back and grabbing some of our classic interviews as well, or episodes, and I'm putting all our current stuff on there as well. So that people can enjoy it, and people are leaving a lot of comments.
Yay!
So just it's fun, you know. I understand YouTube is kind of community over there too. So hopefully,
world.
Yeah. So hopefully that means that y'all are commenting and liking stuff over there. Yeah, like we got 9 comments on our Obi-Wan Welcome to the Cookout episode, which we just did a couple days ago. Yay. And 88 views, which is a lot for us. So yeah, I appreciate it. And although now I see that's the only video that got some dislikes, got 1 dislike, but oh well, that person's probably a piece of shit. But thank y'all for fucking with us. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, we're gonna enjoy the positive comments as long as we can, because I'm gonna tell y'all right now, them trolls and shit come over there and white supremacists get it, the comments will go off, because I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. No voicemails this week, so let's just get right into the emails. Which you can email us, the blackouttips@gmail.com, and of course there was nothing in the physical mail today either. So let's check out the emails you sent to the blackouttips@gmail.com. This is a big block of text. All right, let's get it started. I wonder, how does this happen? The big block of text.
I don't know if they send it like that or they do it and it just squishes it together. Might be the what they're whatever they're writing on.
Yeah, because it's not like this mean or crazy. It's just a big block. Anyway, this is from Dre, who says, Rod and Karen, I've been thinking about hitting YouTube with a voicemail or email since I got put onto the podcast a few months ago. However, I hadn't become a premium member yet, even though I know that's not a requirement. Something in me just didn't want to take up space on the podcast until I had taken that additional step to show my support for what you both do here. This is probably because I have a podcast myself, and even though I love and appreciate any and everyone that takes time out to listen to it, I extra love and appreciate the ones that give me money, because eyes don't want to work for the white man no more. But I digress. Now you got my 15. Let me begin by saying, Rod, you are a funny ass motherfucker with a sensibility about the world and the willingness to adapt to new information that is refreshing to hear from another black man on a consistent basis. Even with some of my best friends, it's difficult to push certain conversations forward because of some of the things that we grew up doing, saying, and believing were not only thought to be acceptable, but actual characteristics and behaviors that made you a man. So to hear you speak openly about how there are things you have learned over the time that are insensitive or offensive to other groups, whether it be using words like the F slur or referring to women as bitches, or offering or offensive to other groups, whether it be using words. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Or any other trash behavior we grew up doing, is refreshing because it's not preachy as if you're just above having done those things you now believe to be wrong. I hope that made sense. I think that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's hard because, like, one, you're never gonna be perfect. Two,
Mm-mm.
5 years from now, sensibilities could change and we could be thinking differently about shit.
Mhm.
And yeah, I did grow up saying a bunch of shit. Like, not just saying, as you said, you're not even just saying it, like, that was how we defined masculinity. Like, how
Mhm.
fucked up could you be towards women? How fucked up were you towards gay people? How violent were you? So how
And
fucked up were you to each other,
and it
really?
was a measurement of your masculinity.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
just that, and what was cool, like the coolest thing you could do is be fucking cold and heartless towards a woman and shit. Meanwhile, those were not the things that felt cool to me in real life. And honestly, I think for a lot of them niggas, they really don't feel that those are the coolest things to be, because you look at them now and think about like the hotel incel black manosphere shit. What's it really about? If you get down to the core of it, what they're really saying is, we want love and affection from women.
Mhm.
But so much of it is about controlling, submission, denigrating, offending, dominance. It's not real love,
Mm-mm.
because they don't really know how to express what real love is, and because that's not cool. Because honestly, love is the ultimate submission. It is the ultimate, like, I'm putting my life and my heart and my well-being in the hands of another person, and there is
Mhm.
no submission to that on the other end. There's
Right.
no it's the ultimate, like, it's up to you.
Mhm.
That's love. It's up to
Mhm.
you. Think about this way. For those of y'all that familial love, you love your children and stuff. Every time your child leaves the house, they got your heart in their hands,
Mhm.
because they can go do anything and you still gonna love them.
Right.
For most of y'all, right? They can go do anything, and it's the scariest, powerless feeling. It's why you're checking the apps to make sure that the tracking is they on the way from the bus.
Yep.
It's why you're so concerned every moment they're in school or away from you.
Mhm.
It's why fear goes through people when they hear about school shootings
Agreed.
and stuff, because you're powerless in the face of admitting how much you care about this person. And I think it's stuff like that I started to see, that was like, oh no, this is just all this armor around these dudes is all fake. It's all phony, and it's all insecurity. It's an emperor with no clothes.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is, for most people, they will extend that to their children, but they will not extend that to their spouses and their significant others. That unconditional love that you have for a child, because you feel like a child can never hurt me or disappoint me. Yes, a child
Well,
can. Children do it all the time.
all love is conditional, right? In my
Yes.
opinion, but it is this thing of like admitting you're weak. No one wants to admit they're weak, and
Right.
honestly, at this point, after the advent of after the movement for feminism that has given women, like, not equality, but like some advantages they didn't have before. Some,
Agreed.
just, I wouldn't even call them advantages, just some fucking human decency, some options, giving women some options. Because we still see women are punished for being single when it comes to the married counterparts, when it comes to
Yes.
money and time and all this stuff. But there's a lot of women that are like, I'd rather be dealing with this than up under some fucking man who's talking about I need to submit and
Right.
talk
So
down on
I'm not
me.
shit, constantly beating on me and whooping my ass, and I'm having his kids and he ain't shit. Because a lot of times people go, I really be doing bad by myself, and men hate that shit. But for a lot of women, they feel like that. They feel like, if I am going to do bad, I'd rather be with me and deal with me, not be bad and have to deal with you and your ain't shitness too, on top of all this badness.
Yeah, so the point being, like, a lot of that stuff is about a reaction to how terrible the men have been when they've been in charge and still are in charge. And so now you even have women that's on some like, I don't ever want to be weak. I don't ever want to be dependent on a man. I don't want to admit I have any feelings for anybody. That's just the way we've had to couch things because that's how fucked up shit is. And yeah, I just think a lot of that stuff we learned was bad. I try to read up on some of this stuff, which a lot of people don't do. And I just try to listen to people that's not just black men. I listen to black men. Obviously, I'm one of them. My friends are and stuff. So it's not like I don't feel isolated from black manness or black males or any of this shit. Niggas think I'm cool for the most part. If they don't think I'm cool, that's fine with me because I'm also not like some cuck ass nigga that need their approval.
Right, and that's like, and a lot of men make decisions in their lives based off of other men, how they dress, how they act, and all that shit. A lot of times that has less to do with the women. A lot of times they will pick their women based off of what other niggas say. Right. Nobody give a fuck about what them niggas say. Is you happy? No, but then it don't matter. Right,
like the way they might view me is just we have opposite core values in a lot of cases. So the way somebody might view me and the ways they think make me weak are the ways I think I'm strong, and vice versa. The ways I think they're weak are the ways they think they're strong. And that shit is all up to you individually. But anyway, my whole point being like, I appreciate that. I'm not trying to be different. I'm just trying to be honest. And I bet you, if more niggas were honest and did a little bit more introspection, they sound more like me, but it's not cool to sound like me in a lot of cases. So even if it's true, there's a lot of dudes that ain't willing to come out and say it. Like, you listen to three dudes talk together, and let's say some issue with LGBTQ people comes up, and these three straight dudes are talking. Two of them might be fucked up. One of them might be fucked up. But it's always, one of them might turn into a joke, whatever. It's always the one who is like, actually, it is kind of fucked up and we shouldn't be doing this, that has to make the joke, that has to downplay it, that has to acquiesce to the other people, because it's not cool to be that motherfucking after school special guy. It's like, but what is funny about them being like, why can't they be gay? Like, why is it bad that there's a gay person on this HBO show? And why do you always have to point that out? Right? Like, once you say it that way, it becomes like a confrontation. It becomes conflict. It becomes everything except just like, yo, this is the right thing to do, because doing the right thing isn't cool. But if you laughed it off and been like, pause, they would have been like, oh, ha ha ha, my nigga. Even though deep down you're like, it's kind of fucked up that we only point out there's gay people on HBO shows. Like it could be 27 black people on this motherfucking We Own the City, and nobody's, and that just don't count. But if there was one gay black person on it, it'd be like, they always putting gay black people on it. Like, it's like that kind of conversation happens all the time, and I'm privy to those conversations because I'm a black dude.
It does, and it's also one of the things where, for me, and this is as I've gotten older, I realized for a lot of men, some men never get out of this, because I know some old niggas is like this, but for a lot of men, as they get older, they begin to unlearn a lot of that shit, and all of a sudden, all the traits that they thought were unmanly and uncool, they doing that shit now because they're older now. And so a lot of older men, as they get older, they realize that they need deeper relationships with other men. Some men do. And in order to have these relationships, you can't have these old fuck ass niggas around, because you're like, I got kids, I got a wife, I got a family. Like, all of a sudden I got a heart, and I'm not trying to be cool no more. I like, almost like I done got out of the cool game. I'm not trying to get on these bitches. So, I just time me to calm down. And then all of a sudden you see the softness in them and the humanity in them come out. Now they have daughters, and all of a sudden they start looking at their nieces and sisters and shit differently. And then a lot of times that shit changes, but it's one of those things where for a lot of people, they feel like this young, but it's almost like I got to be in the cool kids club versus being an outcast, because nobody wants to be on the outside of their social class or their social group. And if you are, people feel like that's a death sentence, but it's how you feel about it, because for some people they go, well, I know me, I'm always different, so I'm okay with not being part of the club or the clique. But for some people, they can't function like that, so they do whatever everybody else is doing, even if it's to the detriment of other people.
Yeah, it reminds me of the lyrics on Father Time, Kendrick Lamar's album song. Egotistic, zero giving fucks, and to be specific, need assistance with the way I was brought up. What's the difference when your heart is made of stone and your mind is made of gold and your tongue is made of sword, but it may weaken your soul? My niggas ain't got no daddy. Grow up, overcompensate, and learn the shit about being a man in the disguise as being gangster. That's to me like something that resonates with me all the time, because I'm like, yes, that's how it felt. You know what I mean? Where it's just like all the shit we describe as being a man is a lot of it is very toxic shit. And it's not till we get older that we have an appreciation for the stuff that, at least for a lot of us, you know, I had a respect for it because my dad was in the house and I was watching him, and that was one of my heroes every day living there, as opposed to like, you know, Dr. Huxtable or Michael Jordan or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was like, you know, being cool and is consistency, hard work, dedication, coming home every night, that kind of shit. You know what I mean? So it just, I had a different value system. And so being gangster and all that shit was more like a costume that people had to put on to survive, but it wasn't really like that's you deep down, because
Agreed.
It's like, you know, to me, I was like, those things can't build anything. Those things are what we use to destroy, right? Violence is what we use to destroy. Misogyny, homophobia, that's what we use to destroy. Those aren't things we use to build or whatever. And if you build connections based off of that, you're gonna forever be trapped in like a level of immaturity, because that's how you measure your friendships, is who am I allowed to be fucked up towards. Karen, you are the young Jeezy of podcast ad libs. When Rod is reading the story, I'm just waiting to hear that. Oh no. Your overall commentary is such a great reflection on how I feel so many people, Black women in particular, feel about issues that I personally don't feel like we see Black women platform to speak on within our culture. The passion you both show for what you do and the world you live in is dope as fuck, and unfortunately uncommon in society that seems to think not giving a fuck or not trying is cool for some stupid ass reason. I mean this wholeheartedly when I say this has been my favorite podcast since the first episode I listened to. I could go on and on, but as a listener and a fan, I just wanted to, as Nori would say, give you two your flowers and say thank you. I do, however, need to extend a second thank you both to, as a podcaster specifically. First of all, in your episode with the host of Four Color Nerds, when Karen specifically said several things that stood out to me. First of all, is this something you really want to do, or is it just your hobby? And also, when she said she can tell if it's worth her time because the ones that aren't serious every episode is "we back." That episode completely changed the standard I set for myself as far as providing content consistently. Also, seeing how you two engage with the audience by reading emails, 5-star reviews, comments, and all of the small things you've done to build a community around you. What you do have is extremely helpful. Even just seeing how many episodes you two have put out gives me inspiration, because it's easy to feel like what you're doing isn't growing at the rate you expected. But when I look and see I have 2,500 plus episodes and think at 70 or so episodes, I'm still learning how to execute everything I want done and building a foundation for what I want the podcast to be. Anyways, thanks you two for being mad dope and providing quality content so consistently. You have got a forever fan in your boy. P.S. I dropped the two of you the link to my podcast. It would be pretty player if you checked it out, because y'all niggas is famous to me, really though. And this podcast is the FTS podcast. Yeah, I did add it to my Spotify. I'll definitely check it out. Thank you, Dre. Yeah, all that stuff you said is true. Julie writes in, come on, Professor Karen, episode 2538.
Not Professor.
To my favorite gratuitous blacks, it's been a minute since I wrote, but I've been listening, learning, and just generally getting more comfortable staying quiet and trying to see and do life better. And speaking of doing life better, congratulations to you both on growing and glowing together. I synced the back of your head on Game Theory, Rod, and it filled out quite nicely. So proud of you both. For Karen, I have one question. When will you give your seminar on the internet? Because you said a word. In truth, you said so many words. You laid out the psychological perils of a medium that keeps the same survival energy of fight, flight, or freeze, or the offended, defending, pretending strategies when a human feels he or she is about to be annihilated or shamed. Those are the energies, and they simply get co-opted to fit whatever agenda or form. So just as you said, Karen, it may look different, but underneath it all is binary. This binary, if I'm not a victim, I'm a victim fear that leaves anyone treading into miserable territory, mostly oblivious, stuck, repeating the same pattern. Bars. Yeah. Karen did say that. And the internet is any of us, and it's America, and it's any world at war with itself, inside or outside. The effects are just the same. You can't find peace when you're caught up in it, and a mind at peace, like a house or a place of work of peace, ain't nothing like it. So thanks, Karen. I appreciate how you all have helped to show how much peace, fear, and war costs, because you out here doing some good public service about how to balance our emotional bank account and be more secure, having some savings. And for me and my house, I want to have all the peace funds I can to spend and enjoy life differently, as well as to keep me as sane as possible when some real painful and unavoidable shit goes down. Because trust, life sure will have enough of that without us having to add more pain to it.
Yes, don't go looking for it. That's my biggest thing. Don't go looking for it. Trust, if you live life long enough, the world and situations and circumstances will come around and it'll whoop your ass enough on its own. You do not need to go and find it. It will find you.
Also, as a needed PS, I do not mean to suggest peace is passivity. That would be a painfully naive stance that doesn't recognize that when folks don't see us as equal and treat us accordingly, making life untenable, we got to do what we must to ensure that we are safe and can survive before we can even thrive. To borrow from Martin Luther King, I'm talking about a positive peace that's possible because justice is present. And in my opinion, ain't nothing naive about trying to be just in any and every way we must in order to have positive peace. Yep, I agree completely. Bars. The next one is from Carmen, who says, for some reason, I don't know why why they're making it. Oh, because there's a picture on it. Okay, all right. Hi, Rod and Karen, longtime listener. I found you during the Twib days. Before I get into it, I want to congratulate Rod on your recent success with Game Theory. I love the Atlanta reviews and Karen's Mystery Science Theater ass chuckles in the background. Hopefully I can make it to the next live show, barring no super variants. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. In response to the story about the home appraisal disparities, I wanted to share me and my husband's story. We closed on our home in December when we purchased from a biracial family. In the home buying process, your bid for a home is selected by the sellers, but it must be within or lower than the appraisal value of the home in order for the bank to honor the bid amount for your mortgage. We bid and won at $409K. However, when the appraiser finally submitted the appraisal to our bank, he weighted the age of the toilets would eventually need replacing more than the age of the roof recently restored, amongst a bunch of other frivolous things. He appraised the value of the house at $380K, far lower than houses with similar square footage and specs, and also in a desirable location. This meant we had to quickly go into another round of negotiations where we had to decide to make up the cost with our new bid, $390K with $10K out of pocket, or abandon the contract and start again after months of searching in a very hot market. We're also in NC. We wanted to appeal. If we wanted to appeal, we could only do that after the house was purchased. Yeah, it makes no sense. Ultimately, we decided to continue with the purchase, but this story really resonated with me because we had toured so many houses with Black owners. It makes me wonder if they sold for the amount they should have gotten had they been white. Oh, and the appraiser, the sellers reported that he only spent 7 minutes in the house. They had a Ring camera. Thanks for the podcast. See, P.S. Here's a photo I took from the first live show in Charlotte. I think it was right before Rod's computer melted. Thank you. And wow, yeah, man.
We read articles, but that's why people go. They just stage their house. They was like, no.
life is just such a fucking trick bag when you black, man, because you really don't know. And this is the kind of thing that will bother you. If I was that family, that shit would bother me forever. Like, are we one of these stories that you see on the news of black family dealt with some racism and their house wasn't sold for the right price? Or was our appraiser just fucked up, or was that how it was supposed to go? But we lost out on $30,000 or some shit because someone decided to depreciate the roof differently than the toilets or something. I don't know. James writes in, womb cereal. Me and my wife are dying laughing to y'all womb cereal commentary. We must admit we are here for all the genitalia meal cereal brands. Tori says she wouldn't mind some pee-pee puffs and some toasty testes.
Come on, toasty testes.
I am here for honey bunches of boobs and some cream o clitoris. Cream o clitoris? What? I'm more of a cherry hose man. Sugar cracks. All right.
I like the snap crackle nut.
There you go, Karen. You got one in too.
Yay!
She just want to be part of the game, y'all.
I did, since we all making jokes.
Snap crackle nut. Let's see. This one is from not for listener feedback. Someone sent us the donation. The person who made the first donation theme song sent us one without Dr. Umar's ad libs in it to say gifts and donations, because they were like, since you're putting the show on YouTube, maybe it'll get flagged. Here's the thing. I don't think it will. I don't think his donations and gifts thing is a copyrighted, like I don't think we're gonna get sued by the record company, because normally when they what they, it's not that they sue it, what they do is they flag it, and then it, like, if you play this in the Ukraine, they will not, this segment will be muted out. And this has been with like Kendrick Lamar's music and shit, so I don't think it'll be a problem. Jeff, but I'll keep it anyway just in case. Jeff says, step in the right direction to me. Hi, Rod and Karen. As always, you two say such fantastic and motivating things on your show that have me nodding my head in agreement. Hold on. Sorry, I was trying to make the window smaller and it cut off the words. Just a love here. I just love hearing positive truths about us as blacks and marginalized groups. And of course, the last. If you already didn't notice, I feel this is the Country Music Awards, making sure they don't back stupid shit nor remain stereotype. Thoughts, y'all? And it's an article. This is from Jeff in Japan. It's an article about Country Music Awards banning the Confederate flag, which probably go into the cookout. So we'll cover that story at a different time. Tiffany says, hi, Karen and Rod. I don't want anything, just catching up between the Blackout Tips and 3GO. And I've heard y'all mention Turkey Leg Hut quite a bit. As a Houstonian, I wanted to reach out and let y'all know whenever the two of you are able to make a trip down this way, please let your girl know, and I'll take care of the reservation fee. Y'all just make sure y'all in your Sunday's best. LOL, I'm kidding, but seriously, I'd love to take you guys there and recommend some other great spots y'all can try while visiting. The reservation fee only covers your food and drinks. It's non-refundable and can't go towards a tip, but trust and believe your order well over the amount while you're there. Y'all continue to be safe and take care of each other. Below is a pic of the Cajun Bowl that I had the last time I was there, and it is good. And I'm sure everybody wants to see a picture of this, because I definitely want y'all to see it.
Yes, we're gonna get to Turkey Leg Hut one day.
Woo!
Oh, what's happening in that bowl?
Hello,
what's
going on?
Shrimp? Is that
like some macaroni and cheese happening?
Is that dressing? What's happening here?
Oh, look at them scrimps. Look how big they are.
Oh yeah,
my Jesus. Okay. Oh my goodness. Hello. As Cam Newton would say, hello. Well, I'll move this to the personal emails, because I have to take you up on this.
Come on.
Zenzi writes in, America, please get it together. Girl, I say this every day I wake up. Dear Rod and Karen, I've been meaning to write in for a while now, but life keeps getting in the way. And then by the time I look up, it seems like 100 world-ending events have happened again, and I don't know what to say. First of all, I want to say a huge congrats to Rod on the success of Game Theory. I felt so privileged to watch your journey through that amazing experience, and I want to thank you for carrying us along. It was so much fun to hear about it from your perspective, and now I have some insider knowledge about the TV world, and will make me pause before delivering a harsh critique of a show in the future. The show itself was awesome to watch, and even though I didn't get many of the references because I don't follow American sports, the humor was universal. Thank you. And I'm just glad I already had like a very forgiving attitude about TV because man, it's hard.
Yes, it is.
It's hard to make good TV, and I think
a lot of
everyone
people realize that.
Everyone sits at home, they think they got it all fucking figured out. They got the best idea. They would just write it this way and all this shit. And then all these people start being involved. You got upper management
approvals.
You got motherfuckers just disagreeing, just the same way you disagree at every job. And then you got, creative, artistic spaces. People are sensitive. They got feelings, time constraints. Man, it's hard.
Lines being changed.
Yeah, it's all hard. However, one thing that we all follow around the world is American politics. And when I tell you the things happening in the U.S. have real world consequences on the mental health of people living continents away, I'm not kidding. It breaks my heart to see people in a country like America taking their right to vote and the power that goes with it for granted. In Nigeria, we have an election coming up, and all the candidates up for the offices at the national state levels are people who have been in power in this country for the last several decades. They keep passing our country around among themselves, and our votes mean nothing because our elections mean nothing. All we can do is watch helplessly as they steal our resources and dance on our graves. Right now, anyone with the means to is fleeing the country because we don't believe there will even be a country in a year's time. But most of us are stuck here with no choice. So when I see Americans saying they won't vote because they haven't been given one specific thing they want, even though voting means they will get closer to it, I can't help but feel a complete sense of hopelessness for the future of the world. Yeah, we are extremely privileged. I will say, and I'm trying to be more careful about this, but it's hard. But the people we're talking about, I'm not sure how many of them there are, but they're so loud and they're so
and that's
wrong.
The thing, they're loud.
But I don't know that they represent the majority or anything, but it's enough of a contingent that I don't fuck with them, and I'm not gonna do the polite thing that all these fucking spineless motherfuckers out here are always like, I mean, just don't talk about them. They don't matter anyway. No, I'm gonna talk about their ass
because they matter.
Because you can make the same argument for people that vote Republican. To be honest, hey, look, they don't care. Why we got to talk about them? Just go vote and don't worry about it. I'm gonna talk about them because I think they're fundamentally wrong, and I think the people that the second backing them up are the people that sit there and don't do nothing but claim to be against those people. You're just as useless. There are so many problems in the world, but knowing that you can vote and it will make a difference is a privilege I have never known in my entire adult life, because since I've been old enough to vote, we've either had a military dictator or a former dictator masquerading as a democratic leader through a rigged election. Each one is worse than the previous one, and they are relentless in their greed. Americans, you don't know how good you have it. A lot of these motherfuckers want a dictator as long as it's Trump. I'm sorry for ranting, but it's something that weighs on my mind. Anytime I see someone talk about withholding their vote and anger and frustration, I hear it in y'all's voices. Makes me just as angry and frustrated too. I can't even go into politics around the very weird gun culture in the U.S. and how harmful it is, because that would make this email 10 times longer. I have friends and family in the U.S., and I get so scared when I think about the craziness going on there right now. I hope people on the left start to see the Republicans will simply not give up, and the only way to make the country better is to vote for people that will listen when you cry out.
Right.
If there's one thing we all know, is that the Republicans will watch while children are murdered as long as they get to keep power and move even 1 inch closer to their racist nirvana. You guys feel like my cousins from far away, so I worry about you as well. And I hope more people start thinking like you, so I can at least have some peace of mind when I think of America. Well, the good news for us is we probably won't get shot because we don't do much. I mean, it might happen the way the shootings is going now, but I don't know.
But it'll be rando. Like somebody got to kick in the door, wave in the fofo.
If they're not just shooting through apartment complexes for no reason, we probably be all right. I don't know. Thank you so much for everything you do to keep us laughing in this mad world and all the coronavirus information you keep sharing, because that has helped a lot with my anxiety through the pandemic. I pray many more good things come your way, and I look forward to celebrating with you in the future. Love and light, Zenzi. Thank you, Zenzi.
Thank you.
Yeah, international podcast emails. Speaking of international podcast emails, what we had Japan so far. We had Nigeria, I believe she just said, and Canada's in the house.
Come on, Canada.
Feedback, disagreements on controversial topics. Hey, Rod and Karen, this is from Emil. I have heard you push back on 2 occasions in the past 2 feedback shows. The fans that have expressed opinions that were in opposition to your own. While impassioned and forceful, you displayed a considerable measure of empathy and respectfulness. I applaud your approach, which serves as an invitation to me to present an opinion that might prove anathemic to your very sense of self, an opinion that might undercut everything you consider to prove one's humanity. Hear me out, and I implore you to not judge me or forthrightly accuse me of both sidesism. Here goes.
Okay.
Would you allow yourself to consider the possibility that you could be wrong about sugar grits? Admittedly, I've never had grits, sugar, savory, or otherwise. But that won't stop me from speaking as an authority on it. I'm just playing. I actually wrote up here to defend Arby's.
What is happening here?
Seriously though, I love this week's episode as usual, but haven't sent any feedback in a while, and I don't have anything specific to comment on, so I decided to write some dumb shit. But dumb shit counts as feedback, doesn't it? It does. I mean, you cracked Karen up.
Yes, you did.
I didn't find even a word of it funny. It was all terrible to me, but it made Karen laugh. That's worth something. Nah, but honestly, I was a little worried because one of the people that wrote up here that, it was after we talked about Wanda Sykes, and this person wrote up here and was like, fuck everything y'all just said about empathy and the fact that this woman had trauma. I'm mad and her trauma don't count. And she's a coon. And, Kendrick Lamar is whatever. And it was annoying because we had specifically stated we're not that show.
All right.
And we do so much to not be the show that just goes, Celebrity X is a trash person. We hate them, and we're just going to only say bad things.
Right. Or we're not that show.
I don't agree with this person. So this person who I've never had a problem with, who seemed to be a righteous person up until this moment, is now a coon because the internet told me that the only trauma that matters is the trauma I experienced when I watched Will Smith slap Chris Rock. The trauma I experienced from Chris Rock's joke is the only trauma that can matter in this situation, and everyone else has to take a backseat.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do so much to not do that kind of snap judgment. To me, low quality show. That's a low quality show to me. People that do that are not very thoughtful. They're not very nuanced, and they're not people I would listen to, right? That do that. So to have somebody right up here, it's like, did you even listen to the show, or did you just want to write in because you saw the headline or something?
Yep, and you've been arguing with people online all day.
But I went out of my way multiple times to be like, I'm not calling you out your name. I'm not saying you can't have these opinions. I'm saying we're not the show for it. Here's why I disagree with you and why I find ultimately this shit to be unproductive. And so behind the scenes, that person left another comment. I just didn't read it on the show, but it was like I'm taking my ball and going home shit, which is obviously designed to like try to hurt my feelings. Like, well, then I'll never write in. But honestly, if you write in thoughtlessly like that and you really disregard our opinions and don't really vibe with what we talking about anyway, it's not like I'm sitting around like, God, man, we're going to really miss those comments. You know what I'm saying? It was just one of those moments where it's like, if I'm not allowed to disagree, if I'm not allowed to passionately say without calling you out your name, without calling, I'm not like, listen, you motherfucker. Like, I didn't do none of that shit. Just on some, like, I don't agree with you. I cuss all the time in all these episodes. So I'm not even going to, Like, even with me cussing, I'm not even gonna act like, oh, well, you was cussing, nigga. I was cussing this whole episode the whole time too. So let's not even try to do that.
It's explicit for a reason.
Yeah, but if you can't handle the fact that you wrote up something to say you low-key disagree, and we said, yeah, and we heard what you said, I disagree with what you're saying. If we can't move on, what's the point? Because like, I do my best to not make the show. I for listen to these other podcasts. Someone calls and disagrees, and it is, you raggedy motherfucker, how dare you, blah. And I don't want to do that show. I want it to be a place where, because I listen to so many podcasts, I would like it to be a place where you can listen, you don't have to agree, and you can listen to the next episode. And then you can write up here and say, here's why I disagree, and I'm gonna do my best to at least consider it, but I'm never gonna pander, and I'm never gonna lie to you and be like, yep, well, you set me straight. And I'm also not gonna be scared and be like, I don't want to say my opinion because the person disagreed. Like, this is my opinion. I done gave it 2,500 episodes so far. That's what it's gonna continue to be. And so I appreciate you writing in, because to me, when people do this, like a harumph, I'll never write in. It's always just like they want me to second guess myself. Like, was I well, did I call them a raggedy stupid bitch and say I hate gay people? And I didn't do any of that. So I appreciate you right now, because I think people hear the disagreement, they hear that we're passionate about shit. Obviously, we talked about it on our show, we're passionate,
right?
But hopefully they can hear that, like, there's still a level of, like, I'm not going for the jugular. You know, I'm not Monique bringing up your daughter's sexual assault so I can win a fight.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to keep it germane to what was discussed and tell you why I feel so passionately the other way, but still invite you to come back and listen to the next episode and write in again. But, you know, once again, like I said, I don't count friendships till we have a disagreement. And it's specifically because of that, you know, and it's one of the reasons as much as I love our community, I try not to get too attached to specific fans, because your one opinion these days from somebody just being like, fuck you, fuck everything you ever done.
Sir.
I'm never going to talk to you again. And I would never do that to a friend. And that's the reason I have to be aware of when we talk about celebrity culture, parasocial relationships. This is one of the reasons I'm always hedging my conversations about celebrities and stuff into being like, I don't know them. Right. I'm not really mad at them. I can't hold them accountable, because I have to understand. I want to understand my relationship to this is still entertainment. This is still a stranger, and vice versa. Because and when I talk about our fans and stuff, I try to keep it fans and not be like my family. You know what I'm saying? Because once you start having those type of parasocial relationships, at any point, one of y'all could just decide we ain't it. And that should be your right as a fan to not fuck with us.
Right. At any period of time, if you choose to.
And it shouldn't matter if I'm hurt or not hurt by it, because you don't care if Time Warner is hurt when you cut off the cable service.
No, right? You don't.
At some point, we're providing a service. And if we can't do that for you, there's a bunch of other podcasts that can. But I will never not be me. I'll never not be myself. And I'm going to do my best to not be disrespectful to people, even when we disagree, because of shit like this. Because I'm hoping at the end of the day to still reach that person. I'm hoping they still do hear something I said they got through to be like, oh, I see why they had that perspective. Because I keep honoring other people's perspectives until you end up not having one of your own. But there's only so much you can do. So I'm glad you said that, honestly. Thank you. Something struck me while I was watching Dom crack up during the Balls Deep Sports intro, observing your interactions with Jordan Temple earlier this week. You two are cool nigga magnets. Something about your interactions with guests brings out the best in them. Never change. Get yourself some sugar grits at Arby's and never change. Hey, you know what's funny though? Straight up, when we had Jordan on, there was a part at the beginning. Because Jordan's like a what do you call it? Not a straight man. What's the word? He has a deadpan. He does deadpan delivery a lot of times with stand-up and stuff. He's very straightforward. And he talks about being depressed and he's a thoughtful dude. And as you can tell from the Atlanta writers room, a little bit dark. you know. And so there's a part of the beginning of the interview where I'm like, I have to introduce you to our audience and to me and Karen, because we that might not know who you are yet. And even if I've done research and listened to all these podcasts you've been on, because I did do that research, and I'm still not going to act like, well, since I know, fuck it, because I don't know what you know about us, and you don't know what we know about you.
Correct.
And the audience there might be new people coming to our show because you were on it. And there might be new people coming to check you out because you were on our show. Point being, at the beginning, there's this point where it's kind of awkward, where it's almost like he's like, oh, another one of these, like, talk about your credits, talk about how you got started, talk about this. And I could kind of feel him like almost pulling away, like, I guess I'll answer these boring ass questions. And I had to be like, yeah, nigga, you do need to do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not in a mean way, but like, hey man, like, this, we don't know these stories, and maybe you've told them 1,000 times, but it's not like everyone know the story. And in order to build up to where we're talking about Abbott Elementary, Atlanta, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, it's not gonna hit the same if we don't talk about you being a nigga from Queens that came from the projects, that, you know what I'm saying, started doing improv and all that shit, because I'm building a narrative here. And I have so much confidence and faith in me and Karen that it was so beautiful how he opened up. And by the end of the show, it's like you can hear him cracking up despite himself. It's kind of like when people laugh at our corny pun runs and shit, and it's like, this is very corny, that this pun run that we're doing, but there's something about the allowance of joy and freedom in them corny puns that people can't help themselves. It's like when people
it's contagious.
It's like when people get mad at you for laughing at a pun you did. It's like, yeah, because something in you went,
oh yeah, I'm a funny bitch.
This is stupid. You know, something in you went, this is stupid. And then you started laughing in spite of yourself, and now you're having a good time. And so that was especially when we're meeting these people for the first time, that was fun. And next time, if he comes back, man, we can do some like bullshit. We can talk about, I don't know, whatever the current gun crisis is or whatever. And you can be that. And I think, you know, so yeah, I try to be similar with everyone that comes on the show, because in order for this to really work, it has to be a space of like openness, honesty, but ultimately silliness and fun. And so when he was cracking up by the end, I said, yeah, when we have him back and we do guest the race and fucking with black people and stuff, I bet he'll really like it.
That's gonna be fun. And the thing is, I know, you know, like you say, people that get interviewed all the time, I could see you feeling like that, you know, but it's every time you get an audience, it's a brand new audience. But we're not like those typical shows. We'll move on to other things.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, if you've never heard our show before, you just know some black people and shit. I'm sure they're coming in with preconceived notions too. Everyone,
right?
You know, they probably thought we were gonna, you know, be up in here. You know what I'm saying? Like when a bitch be sucking your dick, right? And like, we don't do that show.
No, we don't do that show.
And it might take them a while to feel that out, because you want to feel comfortable. By the end, this nigga was talking about reading bell hooks and shit. And he knew, and he didn't have to like explain it, because it's like, yeah, nigga, we know who bell hooks is. We talk about it. So like, there's another show where you bring that up. Well, who is bell hooks? Now explain that. Well, she one of them feminisms.
Like, oh no.
Yeah, like, so anyway, it was cool. And thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back tomorrow and later in the week. We have guests Tuesday and Wednesday for sure. And appreciate y'all support and listening, and the people that leave feedback and the people that listen to the feedback episodes. Y'all are favorite people.
Yes.
And you know, I'll try to intersperse some ads in the middle of pregnant pauses to throw
everybody off.
All right.
But y'all let us know for real though, if you having that problem with the episode skipping.
Yeah, because the more details I can get, the better. The stuff they were asking for was stuff like, what ad was it? What, you know, like, are you free or are you premium on Spotify? Stuff like that.
Right. And so, let us know those things so we can give it to them, because we want the experience to be best for you. Also, don't forget to like the YouTube page. Don't forget to subscribe and click on any of the social media that we're on. We're everywhere. So I would appreciate that. And shout out to the people that are premium. For those of you that might not know, we have 2 levels of premium. We have the $15 a month, which you get access to everything, and we have $5 a month. And for $5 a month, you get 4 episodes monthly.
Oh, Karen, you're just trying to fly too close to the sun.
I'm sorry, I was trying my best.
You was close. You was close.
Okay, all right.
No, I mean, go ahead.
Okay.
So
I was trying.
Listen, I was rooting for you.
Okay.
We were all rooting for you. You just started doubting yourself.
I did doubt myself.
I didn't do nothing. You started doubting yourself when you already had it.
I see the look in your eyes. I was like, oh shit, I done fucked up.
No, I wasn't looking at you because you fucked up. You get an extra episode every week.
Yes.
And the reason I looked at you is because I was waiting for you to say this was through Anchor. So, and through Spotify, you can get the $5 a week at just a tip. And you can sign up through Spotify. It's in our description on our page on Spotify. Put the Blackout Tips in the description. Is how you can sign up. And you get an extra episode a week. I think we got about 60 people doing that now. Like, that get the extra episode per week. And it's $5 a month. And it varies. It could be Lip Smacking Good. It can be Ballsy Sports for the pregame. It can be a spoiled movie review. It can be the Nerd Off. It can be whatever. We just give you one a week. Full premium people that go to the blackouttips.com/premium and sign up for $15 a month or $150 a year, I think, because the sale is over. Those people get like a bunch of shit you get at least like 2 or 3 premium episodes a week. That's how hard we be working.
Yeah, we be working real hard. And for those of you that do the Anchor through Spotify, once you sign up, you can take that link and you can use it outside of that format. So don't think you are limited to Spotify whenever you do it.
Yep. So all right, y'all, that's it. Thanks for listening. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Bye everybody.